So hey guys, so what we're looking at today is Come Together by the Beatles. I covered it pretty well, the first section of it in the first video, but I'm going to go ahead and go over it a little bit slower here for you beginners. Alright guys, so in covering this song, we are actually using a lot of the neck in the upper position, so I wanted to kind of give you a layout of the fingerboard up here so you don't have to count from the open note because that's a long ways. So first off, the double dots on your guitar, that's the 12th fret, so you can kind of center for the chords. 10 and 12 will be right there where your ring finger is going to be on the double dot. That is your 12th again. For the solo, we'll not only be looking at the 12th fret, the double dots, but the next single dot towards the body, this one, that's actually the 15th fret. So the solo will be centered around the 12 and the 15th frets for both guitar parts, except for the very end of the second guitar part, which will be back here at the 10 and 12. Again, the same exact frets you were using for the intro chord, where I'm holding the 10 and 12 and doing the... So a little bit of the lay of the land really goes a long way. Just keep in mind the double dots are the 12th fret. The dot in front of them towards the body is the 15th. That'll help you out for the solo. 10th fret obviously is 2 frets lower than the double dots. So that'll lay it out for the first part of the rhythm. And then the second part of the rhythm drops down here to 5 and 7, which will be your second and third marker dots down here away from the headstock, this being the headstock. So 5th fret and 7th fret. Then up here at the 12th fret and the 15th fret. I think if you take a couple minutes and kind of orientate yourself to that section of the guitar, it'll really help you find the frets you need to play this song. Enjoy. So what we're going to do here is we were playing a chord called a D5, and what that is, I take my first finger, my index finger, and hold the 6th string at the 10th fret, and I'm going to be holding the 12th fret of the 5th string, and I'm going to palm mute it. And what that is, I'm taking the heel of my hand and just laying it on the strings, so instead of getting an open sound like this, you get more of this. It really changes the tone and the reaction of that string when you strike it. So I'm going to hold that D5, I'm going to hit it twice with a palm mute, and then I'm going to do a hammer-on, and what that is I'm going to hold the 10th fret on the 5th string and change it to the 12th fret on the 5th string by hammering down my ring finger. I'm just going to do that once, so it's going to be... Now, when I do that, the 12th fret on the 5th string is ringing. I want to allow that to continue to ring while I place my index finger down on the 10th fret of the middle 2 strings and strike those 2 together. And those 3 notes together will form a D minor 7 chord, and it's key for this particular song. And while that rings, you will hear McCartney pull off on the 12th fret on the bass, or on the D note, I'm sorry, the 10th fret on the bass, and pull off, and you'll hear that change. But we're not playing that on the guitar. So slowly, it goes like this. That's how the intro is played, and also a main section of the song. That's really a staple part of this song. You hear that, you know immediately what song you're listening to. So you might want to stop the video here, set your loop functions, go over this, slow it down as many times as you need to with the tablature, and master that part. Next up is going to be the dreaded little pinky part. So let me show you how that works. Alright, so now what we're looking at is we're going to go between a D5 and a D6 chord, and the way we're going to do that is my index finger is going to be on the 10th fret of the 6th string. I got 12th fret of the 5th string for my ring finger, and my little finger is going to be coming up and down on the 14th fret of the 5th string, like this. We're just going to alternate that back and forth and back and forth. Take some practice to get that, but this stretch is key because later in the song we drop down to the 5th fret playing the A chord doing the same thing. This is a typical boogie woogie move on the guitar, and we really want to have this down. I can tell you when you're playing the 5th fret, 7th fret, and 9th fret at the 5th position, it's a bit of a stretch. So if you practice up here playing the D first with the 10, the 12, and the 14, get that down, set your loop points, go over it as many times as you need to make sure it's clean. So if you practice this at the 12th fret range, the 10, the 12, and the 14, when you drop it down to the 5th, the 7th, and the 9th for the A, it's going to be a lot easier for you. So make sure you set your loop points, get that down at the 12th fret or the 10th fret range, and then come down to the 5th fret range. You'll have an easier time. Next up is going to be the A part. Alright guys, so now we're looking at the A part, and what we're going to do here, index finger, 5th fret of the 6th string, ring finger, 7th fret of the 5th string, and we're going to go back and forth with the 9th fret with the little finger on the 5th string. So it's... back and forth palm meeting that. That's an A5 chord. Technically goes to an A6 when we lay our little finger down, but it's just an A5 and laying the little finger down, alternating. 2 strikes on each chord. So it's really just like the D at the 10th fret, just playing it down here at the A. So all this together will be like this, doing the D through 4 times like this. At the end, I'm just going to hit a G5. That's going to be the 3rd fret of the 6th string, 5th fret of the 5th string, and we're just going to hit that and then rest after that. All right. Then in the song, we'll go back to another intro part. After we go through that whole thing again, then we're going to end up with the B chord, which is new for us. B5 chord, 7th fret on the 6th string, 9th fret on the 5th string, and we're going to hit that 6 times. 2 times down here to A, and G5 at the 3rd fret. And of course, we've heard that before. It's a staple of the song as well. It just goes. And back to the intro. All right, so that little bridge part I just played is B5. Again, it's the 7th fret and the 9th fret on the 6th and the 5th strings, 6 of those. Then we're going to do 2 of the A's, which is going to be the 5th and the 7th, same 2 strings. Finally dropping down to the G5, which is the 3rd fret and the 5th fret on the 5th and 6th strings. And we're going to do that 4 times. And then ending on an A5 back up to 7 and 5 for 1 strike. And then a rest there. All right, so then slowly through this part is B. And then back to the intro. All right, now, of note, the backing guitar behind the keyboard solo, or the piano solo, is slightly different than this part. It's based on that, and it's almost solely that, but there's a slight difference, so I'm going to show that to you. We're going to start off with just the D5 and D6 up here at the 10th fret. I'm going to play it exactly as we normally did, but there's going to be one section where I reach up with my little finger and play the 15th fret for 1 pulse. You will hear it there, and it happens in the 2nd measure of this. Check out your tab sheets. You're going to see it in measure 16. All right, so it'll be like this, behind the keyboard part. So you see where for 1 beat, 1/8 note, I actually hit the 15th fret. So again, slowly, it's like this. That's really the only difference for the piano solo. It's marked with PS on your music sheet, so make sure you have that. Again, starts at measure 15, and the difference is actually in measure 16. It's a little bit of a stretch, but again, if you've been playing the A down here at the 5th, the 7th, and the 9, reaching from the 10, 12, and 15 is not that big of a deal. It's all done with a little finger. All right, next part coming up. Okay guys, so now you've covered all the rhythm parts to the song. The solo is up now, and it's actually a harmonized solo, 2 different guitar tracks doing this, so I'm going to cover both of them. And then what you can do, you can play along with me. You could, for example, play guitar 2 part while I'm playing guitar 1, and vice versa. So this will start out at measure 20, let's see, call it 24, and it's going to be the 15th fret on the 1st string, and we're going to do a full bend. If you aren't familiar with bends, we do have a video on how to bend, and it'll be linked at the bottom of this. Make sure you guys check that out on how do we do bends. I'm not going to go into how to do bends here. I'm just going to go over how the solo works on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the 15th fret, which is a G note. On the 1st string, we're going to bend it a full step, and we're going to do vibrato. Let's turn on my guitar here. And then we're going to do it again. So what I did there is I did a full step bend on the 15 with vibrato. Then I did it again, and then release the bend. 13th fret on the 1st string, and then back up 15 for a full bend. So it's, and again, ending this time with 15 on the second string. Now that's interesting there. On measure 28, I did the full step bend 15 on the second string, and I did it again, and then release. And when I pulled off to the 14th fret on that string, which is a C sharp note. Typically that would not be in key, but we're doing a harmonized part, and I went over it and checked it, and yes, they're playing the 14th fret there, so it is 14. I did verify that. It was in several different music sheets I checked as well. So the whole piece slowly is. Use a little bit more gain on this to make the guitar sing. You can also turn your tone knob down a little bit on your guitar, fatten up the tone a little bit, take it from this, turn it down a little bit and get a, so you get a nice singy sound, more of a vocal quality. Now as you're learning the second part, if you're going to play these against each other, in other words, you would sample your one part and then play it against it with the other guitar, you do want to change the tone of your guitar a little bit. Easiest way to do that, just flip the pickups to maybe the neck pickup, and you will have a different tone. It'll sound more like this. More of a neck pickup, bridge pickup. A little bit less bright, just enough to make it sound different. All right, so guitar 2 on this starts off at the 15th fret on the second string, does a full bend. Same kind of a thing, but we're going to play it lower. We're going to be playing on the second string instead of the first string for this first section. So it's going to be 15, full bend, and then again. So it was really about the same thing we did on the first string. We're playing it a fourth lower. That's an interval between the two notes. So 15 on the second string. Do that again. Gets different here. We go down to the 12th fret on the third string, full bend. And then again, pull off to the 10th fret. Ending on the 13th fret, full bend, second string. So slowly, on the second guitar part, we're going to be playing the 15, full bend on the second string, vibrato, and then again, and then bend release. The 13th fret on the second string, so it's. And then again. That was all at the end. 12th fret on the third string. And the 10th fret, and finally 13 on the second string. Now, I'm doing a good bit of muting. If I'm not playing a string, I'm touching it. I'm either using the heel of my hand to touch the bass strings. I'll wrap my ring finger around or my middle finger around on the first string. When I'm not using the first string and I'm playing around it, I don't want it to start making sound, so I touch a lot of them. So I'm trying to touch the strings with my right hand that I'm actually not playing. All right, make sure you set loop points on this. You can do this one phrase at a time. You don't have to go through all of that solo as quickly as I did. Just chop out one phrase, set your loop points over and over again with your tablature, and you should be able to get this down. Remember, practice, practice, practice. Every day, twice a day, 15 minutes minimum. I'm Trent. Hope you guys are enjoying Guitar Animal. Comments in the section below. Let us know what you thought of this song as well as anything else we're doing. And I'm glad that you're here.